कुमार स्वामी नायक गोंगो लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, police internal investigation into death of robbery suspect. USP Pro-Chancellor remains in office and pastor guilty of rape.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Smith.
A police internal investigation is underway into the death of an aggravated robbery suspect in Nandi on Monday. Acting Commissioner of Police Rusiate Tundravu has directed the Internal Affairs Department to look into the matter. It was earlier reported that the individual Mesake Sinu died yesterday after he jumped from a double-storey building in a botched robbery attempt. However, the post-mortem examination conducted today, which ruled out the claims that Sinu's death was caused by any such jump. ACP Tundravu has assured that a thorough investigation will be conducted to ascertain the circumstances surrounding Sinu's death, and those found responsible will be charged and produced in court. 3 men who allegedly assaulted an Nausori bus driver, resulting in his death 10 days ago, appeared in the Suva High Court this morning. The alleged incident occurred on the 3rd of October at the Nausori bus stand.
Mikaele Lavani Yale, Trosateki Rokadakuni Vosa, and Isikeli Langimbalabu were initially charged with act with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. Police yesterday confirmed that the case is now being classified as murder. The state lawyer today informed the court that the driver died due to the injuries sustained during the attack. He also told the court that the 3 are currently in remand at the Suva Correction Center, but police want to take them into custody for further investigation. He also sought 21 days to file information on the charge of murder. The matter has been adjourned to the 27th of this month. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
46-year-old pastor Waisake Tulavu has been found guilty of 4 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual assault. Assessors in the High Court returned with a guilty opinion this morning. High Court Judge Justice Daniel Gaunda concurred with the assessors and found Tulavu guilty of 4 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual assault. Tulavu, who was a pastor at the Healing Church Ministry, raped 3 church members aged 22, 29 and 32 in Nasinu last year. The judge also ordered that the head of the Assemblies of God Church be present in court on Monday for the sentence hearing. The Pro-Chancellor for the University of the South Pacific, Winston Thompson, has indicated he is staying with the institution. Following a special council meeting that lasted over 5 hours, Thompson was only willing to say that they went through the agenda successfully. Apanisa Wangarandovu reports Winston's and Audit and Risk Committee Chair Mahmood Khan were to have their fate determined today.
The Pro-Chancellor walked out of the meeting with his head high.
As usual, there are things that not everybody agrees to, but we successfully concluded the business of the day.
Fiji sent in the big guns with Education Minister Rosie Akbar and Minister for Economy Ayaz Syed Kayum also attending the meeting.
You can talk to the Secretary. I'm a council member. We all have alternatives. I'm an alternative for the Permanent Secretary for Economy.
Thompson says there were no discussions about removing him. He adds that he looks forward to working with Auckland University former Vice-Chancellor Pat Welsh as Deputy Pro-Chancellor.
Of course, these things will happen and you work with whoever it is that is appointed to do the job.
USP Vice-Chancellor Professor Pal Alwalia was visibly agitated, walking out of the meeting venue and refused to speak to the media.
Would you be able to give us a comment, just briefly, on what has transpired today?
Pro-Chancellor Winston Thompson says despite issues which have been reported publicly, he will work with others with the understanding that sometimes you have to agree to disagree. Apanisa Wangarandovu, FBC News.
The Fiji Navy continues to monitor yachts coming in via the Blue Lane Initiative. Maritime Commander Timothy Natuva says the Navy plays an active role in policing our waters and ensuring visiting vessels adhere to COVID-19 protocols. Kelly Vadala reports they have a dedicated team at Port Denarau Marina helping the military and health officials in quarantining visitors.
Yachts visiting under government's Blue Lane Initiative are thoroughly inspected.
Is that despite the COVID-19 restriction, though land movement has restricted, air travel has been restricted, In the maritime space, we can still see vessels still moving. As we are aware, Fiji, the Blue Lane Initiative, we still have yachts coming into Fiji. So from our side, we see that despite the restricted movement, we still have a responsibility.
Commander Timothy Natuva says all yachts allowed entry into Fiji have been in compliance with Fiji's COVID-19 requirements.
Whenever a yacht comes into Fiji, our role under the Blue Lane Initiative is to ensure that the yachts are at a quarantine and they are monitored regularly to ensure they complete their quarantine enforcement before they are given the green light for cruising to cruising Fiji.
Acting Navy Commander Marika Vosawale says they will continue to police our waters.
The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted maritime operations, bringing the new normal. It must be noted that the movement in the maritime space in our region is not fully restricted.
Last year, 756 yachts came to Fiji, contributing more than $60 million to the economy. Report Netara Marina was expecting more than 800 yachts this year. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
The National Disaster Management Office will begin an awareness campaign next month as they gear up for another cyclone season. Part of the program is the Find My Evacuation Centre application launched today. Minister for National Disaster Management, Ines Ratu, says quick dissemination of accurate information is vital during times of disasters.
A lack of information, especially in remote, vulnerable areas, has often put people's lives at risk during natural disasters, but authorities are looking to change that.
Every Fijian knows how important that mission must be. As we are already experiencing, cyclones in Fiji are becoming more severe. Winston may have broken records in 2016, but the next unprecedented superstorm could strike anywhere, at any time of the year. So we must be prepared at all times, everywhere.
The NDMO will be providing awareness material from today, hoping for behavioral changes and preparedness among Fijians. The Minister for National Disaster Management says vital information must be readily available before a disaster strikes. Director National Disaster Management Vasiti Soko says the application will help Fijians identify their nearest evacuation center and will also provide safety measures that can be followed during a disaster.
Preparedness saves lives. So by introducing such a tool, we hope that we can reduce or we can improve the ability of people to move to the nearest evacuation center when threats are starting to come their way.
As we near the cyclone season, the launch of Find My Evacuation Center application by NDMO will benefit Fijians and prevent disaster fatalities. Koreitan Dulala, FBC News.
Up ahead, more Fijians recognized for their services, and curfew breach arrests continue.
Baik tu dia jadi mereka tahu रेडियो फिजी बहुत रेडियो फिजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Musicians were recognized for their efforts today as part of Fiji's 50th Independence Anniversary Medal Ceremony. Fiji Performing Rights Association Limited Director Ramasi Tamanisau and artists Waisele Vuniwanga and Chese Mudunambitu were among recipients. Sanyani Boyla reports.
The music industry made its mark today following the recognition of decades of work by Tamanisau, Vuniwanga and Mudunambitu.
I'm deeply humbled and at the same time honored by this kind gesture by government to recognize the music industry.
I began recording at Radio Fiji 1 in 1984 until to date. I never thought that my work would be recognized this way. I'm so grateful and honored.
Also recognized for his efforts is former Prime Minister and Opposition MP Sitibeni Rambuka.
I'm grateful. Some have been saying negative comments about the government and the award. This is not a government award. This is a state award. The nation is awarding this in appreciation for what people of the nation have done in the past.
Founder and owner of Hot Bread, Mary Samisoni, was also amongst the 30 recipients.
I feel I've been rewarded by the state, by the government of Fiji and by the president. And having said that, you know, while I've worked hard to get to this level, a Fijian in the business community and in the business industry, there's a lot to learn, but it's very easy if you work hard, believe in yourself, and do things honestly.
Other awardees include former ambassadors Justice Kovenangio Lewu and Pio Bosco Tikwisu, to name a few. Meanwhile, another medal investiture ceremony will be held here at the State House tomorrow. Sainia Nimboila, FBC News.
The Fiji Flight Attendants Trade Union says it's concerned with the recruitment of flight attendants by Fiji Airways. President Josiah McGowan says only 4 months ago, more than 400 cabin crew were terminated after the airline said there was no work available. Details with Felipe Naikaso.
The union is questioning the reason behind the recruitment conducted by Fiji Airways last week.
When they re-recruit, you go through the whole process as if you were applying for the first time. You know, we think it's a waste of resources for Fiji Airways. Our focus remains in trying to help the airline.
4 weeks ago, a meeting was held between the two parties, and the union claims they had offered to have the crew re-engaged rather than have a new recruitment drive.
You know, after the last meeting, we're still waiting for feedback from them, but they've gone ahead and begun the recruitment. So I guess, in a way, that's the answer. So
McGowan also claims that there is a clear indication of discrimination and victimization against the former flight attendants who had signed a complaint form, as only those who did not sign have been called up.
And it's disappointing to note that these former flight attendants all of a sudden are not qualified enough.
We have sent questions to Fiji Airways regarding the issues raised by the Flight Attendants Union, and we're expecting a response soon. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
COVID-19 has affected the ability of many Fijians to access healthy food. Permanent Secretary for Health Dr. James Fong says COVID-19 has resulted in job losses, leading to a reduction in people's ability to afford nutritional meals. Kelly Vathala reports today's launch of a food and health guideline project will help our current climate.
The pandemic has not only put pressure on our health system, but it has impacted what we can afford.
The COVID-19 crisis has shown the extent to which a local health crisis can rapidly evolve into a pandemic that puts pressure on not only on the health system but also on agriculture and food system, livelihoods, businesses and the economy at large.
Dr. James Fong says apart from coronavirus, the ministry continues to focus on other health issues.
Good nutrition levels are important before, during and after infection, contributing to a strong immune response to the disease. The COVID-19 crisis has exposed and has accentuated many of the food system vulnerabilities with potential impacts on our food and nutrition security of the Fijian population.
The one-year project has the means to mitigate COVID-19 impacts and climate change as well.
When we look at addressing the crisis, planting and eating more is something where we can address some of the common issues that we have in the communities.
Maintaining a healthy and nutritional diet during the COVID-19 period is critical, and the launch of the food and health guidelines just might come in handy. Kelly Vathala, FBC News.
7 people were arrested for breaching curfew over the past 2 days. Between 11 p.m. Sunday and 4 a.m. Monday, one arrest was recorded in the Central Division involving a man in his late 20s found drunk in public. From 11 last night to 4 this morning, 6 more arrests were recorded. The Southern Division recorded 4 reports involving 3 juveniles and an adult, while the Eastern Division recorded 2 men who were found drunk in Nausori. A 16-year-old was arrested at the Wailea settlement, while a 17 and 14-year-old were arrested outside a service station in McCoy. And turning overseas, hundreds of thousands of people are without electricity in the U.S. state of Louisiana days after Cyclone Delta struck. The storm is now bringing heavy rain to other states. And it's business time now with Whitney.
Thanks, Jackie. Coming up in business tonight, enhancing government's online services. A new initiative to build climate change resilience. Stay with us.
Pula nadang go aprosa ng garse, go erkraki. Do talebe ono barong na Radio Fiji 1 nandomo ibit.
Radio Fiji 1 nandomo ibit.
Digicel Fiji anticipates its network upgrades will assist the government in delivering services to remote communities. Digital Fiji is an initiative to provide a wide range of services via the internet, and Digicel says its network coverage is ready. Chief Executive Mohammed Farid says many of the hotspots have been boosted to pre-5G coverage, while remote locations have high-speed LTE access. He adds rural communities will not have any problems in using the government's various online portals. We now join Sharon from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
Looking at the latest from currency market, riskier currencies were in demand today as investors hoped for a large US fiscal stimulus after the November 3rd election. Some polls report a widening lead by Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden over President Donald Trump is prompting investors to expect a big stimulus to shore up a pandemic-hit economy. This saw the US dollar weaken against currencies that are deemed safer, such as the yen and the Swiss franc. However, risks are growing that the stimulus measures may arrive too late to avoid a decline in activity, and as such, the greenback may find support again. And in China, their yuan-denominated exports in the third quarter rose 10.2% from a year earlier, while imports increased 4.3% on year. Their dollar-denominated trade figures for September are due later tonight. And that's all from your HFC Bank for now. Vinaka.
Here today's local exchange rates as set early this morning. The Fiji dollar made some gains on the currencies of major trade partners, rising against the Chinese yuan, the Kiwi and Aussie dollars, while sliding back slightly against the other currencies we cover. Prices were mixed on the commodities market. Oil dropped slightly but remained near the preferred price of $40 per barrel. Gold slipped down to $1,916 per ounce, and silver closed down at $24.85 per ounce. Building resilience against climate change has taken a step forward with a new program for youth. The Certificate 1 program is supported by the European Union and the Secretariat of the Pacific Community. Minister for Youth Praveen Kumar today received technical equipment from the TVET program.
My ministry intends to pilot this 10-month program at our youth training center based in Nasinu and Nalemba in Lambasa. I'm also thankful that the assistance rendered also covers the capacity building of 2 of the ministry staff who are now ready to take on this job.
And that's it from business tonight. We now join Jamie with the latest in sports.
Thanks, Whitney, and good evening. Ahead in sports, plenty at stake for Flying Fijians in Autumn Nations Cup. Netball Fiji launches Reset Championship. There's some more coming up.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
The Flying Fijians will have a lot to live up to in the Autumn Nations Cup next month, going up against 3 Tier 1 teams in as many weeks. The results of those matches could open doors for players and Fiji rugby. Tali Materakula explains.
Players and officials have been reminded that the tour, facing 3 of Europe's finest teams, is a golden opportunity.
I've reminded the coaches and the players that this opportunity is something that we've always been crying for.
And since we are given this opportunity, they need to go out there, prepare well and be competitive, because it will open a lot of new opportunities and pathways in terms of playing test matches against Tier 1 nations.
Fiji has a record for shaking the foundations of Tier 1 teams, be it test matches or the World Cup. However, this is the first international with coach Vern Cotter, and the Fiji Rugby Union expects a new culture of discipline.
What we've done this time is we've sent sort of a code of conduct which Vern wants the culture of the team to be. We've asked players whether they believe in this code of conduct and values and the new culture going forward. And only those who will agree to abide will be included in the team.
FRU board chair Conway Begg says the union is slowly building the capacity of players to play with the same passion, but within the confines of the rules.
It's a good reflection of our building capacity now with our governance, building our competition locally, promoting more of our players through high performance and through the pathways that we have.
The Flying Fijians will face France on the 15th of next month, Italy on the 21st and Scotland on the 29th. Kylie Materakula, FBC Sports.
The Nandi rugby team is looking forward to kicking off the Skipper Cup again following the short break. Executive member Jeff Tamata says the one-week break was good as it's given teams a chance to rest and reset. The Jet Setters have taken advantage of the break and have reassessed the team's performance in the season so far. Nandi travel to Lawanga Park to face Nandronga in their next match this Saturday at 3 p.m.
I think it was a good decision by the Fiji Rugby Union, especially 11 rounds of non-stop week in, week out. I think the players, the management team, they deserve a break.
4 teams will feature in the inaugural Digicel Punja's 2020 Netball Reset Championship. The tournament will be played over 4 weekends starting this Saturday and featuring some of the country's top players. Aquila Dama has more.
The championship will see current national squad members play against each other. However, it's encouraging to see the new Netball Fiji management investing in young players.
We, the new executives, have come in. We're starting from scratch, making sure that we have a clear pathway for all of our players, not just our players, the bench officials, the technical officials.
The 4 teams are Digicel Flames and Lightning, Punja Stingrays and Thunderbirds. The teams will be captained by Alisi Nengiri, Nina Virkisuva, Vaiti Wangatambu and Alisi Ngalo respectively. The former national rep and coach believes young players will benefit from the championship and Netball Fiji's path forward.
For these players to see there's a pathway for them and there's an opportunity at every level, that's just going to boost, because we have a talent here in Fiji. We've got the talent, but all we need is a proper guideline and a good way to start is having that clear pathway for them.
Netball Fiji President Rubian Sorvaki says it's impossible to put together a championship without the assistance of sponsors.
With us being the biggest women's sport, having such prestigious organizations such as Digicel and Punja support us for an event like this speaks volumes of their support of women.
The Flames take on the Stingrays in the first match at 12 p.m. on Saturday, followed by Lightning and Thunderbirds at 2:30 p.m. at the FMF Gymnasium in Suva. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
The Mboa Football Association now has the daunting task of retaining its players from the Inter-District Championship. Head coach Ronil Ram says now that they have put some promising talent on display at the IDC, the challenge is retaining their squad. Mboa reached the final of the senior division before losing to Nandronga 3-0. However, some of its players are already being eyed for the next transfer window.
Financially, we are a very disadvantaged team. I know, to be very honest, there are some players who have already been approached. We will try our best. Only thing we can say, our boys are at the moment playing for the district. They're playing on district pride.
Basketball's most storied franchise is officially back on top. The LA Lakers clinched their record-equaling 17th title yesterday after beating the Miami Heat 106-93 in Game 6. It was also a historical moment for star player LeBron James. In today's Play of the Day, we take a look at how Rafael Nadal won his 13th French Open title with a 6-0, 6-2, 7-5 win over Novak Djokovic to equal Roger Federer's feat of 20 Grand Slams. That's it from Sports Tonight. In new media, Sony making moves with smart TVs to stay ahead of the competition. This and more after the break.
Bula FM number 2 and seri.
Bula FM number 2 and seri.
In new media tonight, with gaming and streaming becoming popular day by day, the demand for high-end televisions is growing. Market leader Sony has produced what it's called an affordable high-tech solution. And it's weather time now with Angie.
Good evening and welcome to the Weather World. Hope you're well this Tuesday evening. Well, a lot of us say the weather is confusing, which is quite true. For some time, there was nice sunshine and then there's rain. Let's see if this was the weather pattern throughout the nation. In the west, the showers were not very present. It was nice and sunny. Eastwards from Pakaba to Suva, on and off showers with little intervals of sunshine. And up north, light showers were persistent. There is more in store for the night. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. Turning to the tides, a low tide at 9:36 p.m. with high tide at 3:44 a.m. Sunrise will be at 5:38. For tomorrow, as much as we adore sunshine, I'm afraid there will be showers, so do take your umbrellas with you when you head off to school or to work. Tomorrow's temps, Lambasa will get on 33 degrees, then Lotoka will follow at 32. And looking further on to Thursday, the weather is somewhat pleasing. Little hiccups on the way, but it should be fine. Well, that's all the weather news from here. Jackie is with you again.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fijian Pulse, we asked, what do you think of minors willingly engaging in sexual exploitation?
So I believe we need to look at the family background, the upbringing. Is it finance or is it there's family issues at home with parents, or is it being exposed to internet?
These young girls, they need to focus more on their schoolwork because they have a long way to go, so that they can be able to look after their lives in the near future.
Well, what I think is, I won't say much, is only thing I say is bad. It's a bad attitude.
It is not good whatever the underage girls doing under 12 years. It is not good for their health, for their future.
In the world of the weird and the wonderful, fly costumes are proving popular for Halloween in the United States this year, and it has something to do with its Vice President, Mike Pence. Recapping the main stories for tonight, police conduct internal investigation over death of Nandi man, pastor found guilty of rape, and more Fijians recognised in Fiji Day Awards. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. A poll question we're asking: do you think Fijians have shown resilience in the face of COVID-19? Visit our FBC website to answer. And our shot of the day, government buildings all lit up as seen from the Albert Park Greens. Send us your newsworthy pictures to fbcnews@fbc.com.fj via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's news for tonight. Until tomorrow from the team and I, stay safe, stay dry. Modamanda.
Baik tu Dendi mereka tahu, रेडियो फिजी बहुत रेडियो फिजी रोज सुनता हूँ।
रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन।